So I'm happy that eventually we were able to identify these premises, which we took on a 3-year lease. Over the course of last year, we put in place the necessary structures to have a properly functioning chancery. And in that regard, I wish to thank the ministry headquarters under the guidance of our cabinet secretary, Ambassador Rachel Omam, and the PS, Ambassador Masharia Kamau, for all the support that we have been given in order to set up these premises and also to carry out our responsibilities. My small team, which is over there, has grown from our arrival when we were just 3 of us, 3 staff members, including my deputy and the administrative attaché. And subsequently, we were joined by a financial attaché and the consular and immigration officer who is there. We also have a small complement of local staff, 5 people whom you met at the entrance, Your Excellency, all Kenyans, but also Swiss citizens. So that provides a connection again with Switzerland. The team is dedicated, industrious, and patriotic, and I thank the ministry once again for supporting us in the growth of our staff component in order to more effectively implement our mandate. We have also been facilitated in our work by the Federal Department of Foreign Affairs, who have supported us through protocol liaison services, and furthermore, as a primary point of contact with the Swiss Confederation, we have regularly engaged with the substantive foreign affairs relations divisions, including the Sub-Saharan African Directorate, represented here by Ambassador Seriwalt, in the enhancement of our bilateral relations, including providing input towards the development of the Swiss Sub-Saharan African strategy, which is the country's policy strategy towards our region. We have also engaged support for each other's candidatures in the international governance system and facilitated direct communication between our principals to discuss issues of concern to each side, and participated in organized discussions to highlight or exchange views on topical current affairs on the international scene. Our engagements have also included other departments, such as the State Secretariat for Economic Affairs. And I believe these relations will be enhanced further with the signing of the MOU on political consultations, which is due to be signed later this evening when we meet with the host. On the economic scene, we have explored opportunities for trade and investment through meetings with the Chambers of Commerce and Industry and participation in trade exhibitions organized by the Swiss African Business Circle, although a number of those have had to be done virtually because of the coronavirus pandemic. We have also explored ways of reviving the tourist numbers from Switzerland to Kenya, which have really nosedived as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. And in fact, even Kenya, we stopped flying to Geneva because of the virus, and Swiss Air stopped flying to Nairobi because of that same reason. So we are undertaking these engagements through partnership with various tour companies, with which we carry out advertisements of Kenya as a premier tourist destination, and also participation in relevant exhibitions. And we are confident that with the continuous and focused engagement, we will create the necessary visibility to attract business and visitors to Kenya. Your Excellency, the gamut and potential of Kenya's bilateral engagement with Switzerland cuts across a broad range of other issues, from research to education to training to defense to hospitality to multilateral cooperation, all of which are being pursued. Our two countries share a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship, which it is incumbent upon us to exploit for our mutual benefit. Your high-level visit today and your meeting with your counterpart, the President of the Swiss Confederation, His Excellency Ignacio Cassis, will provide further impetus to our bilateral cooperation and an important foundation for this embassy as we follow up to ensure the implementation of the agreed outcomes. Let me conclude by thanking Your Excellency for taking time to grace this occasion today and spending a few minutes with this team. We truly appreciate your presence here, Your Excellency. as we continue to enhance the bilateral friendship and cooperation which Kenya has with Switzerland to enable it to go from strength to strength.
Asante sana.
Thank you, Excellency.
Asante Balozi.
Karibu.
Yeah.
I will now invite the Swiss ambassador to make a few remarks.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, Excellencies Ministers, Messieurs Somano, Messieurs Kabwe, Excellencies, first of all, a heartfelt karibu in Switzerland. It's a great pleasure and an honor to have you, Your Excellency, with your team here in Switzerland today for a bilateral visit, but also for the opening of this embassy. And I think both are testimony to the strengthening of our bilateral relations. The first time the opening of a Kenyan embassy here in Bern was announced was during the visit of the
2018.
in 2018. The then president of the Swiss Confederation, Alain Berset, when he met with you in Nairobi. And not only was the opening announced, and we see today now that also after a period of COVID, as you have indicated, Ambassador, but we see the results from this visit in 2018. But the Swiss president also highlighted the growing importance of the bilateral relation between Kenya and Switzerland. And in the meantime, the Swiss government has adopted a new strategy for sub-Saharan Africa to give it a frame to direct our policies vis-à-vis the continent. But I mention it because Kenya plays a very important role in this strategy as a regional political and economic powerhouse, but also as a global hub for multilateral affairs. So we see a lot of potential to grow our bilateral relations. The ambassador has mentioned trade will be foremost. You are a leading nation in digitalization. We are very interested. As you mentioned, both countries have a reputation for innovation, have a reputation for excellence. And this is what we are trying to build and build on also during the visit with the president of the Swiss Confederation, Ignacio Cassis. And we very much look forward to further developing and building on this great body of work that you have done in the interest of the relation between our two nations. So thank you again for your visit, and we are really looking forward to the exchanges this evening. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
So, Excellency, we now invite you to make your remarks. Unless you'd like to say something.
Thank you very much, Excellency, Karibu, Switzerland.
Asante sana.
And also from my side, we are really honored by your visit and that you are also participating in this opening. As the ambassador said, it's for us really very good to have a bilateral Kenyan embassy here in Bern, and we're working very closely together with Ambassador Kihurani. It was said Kenya is a very important partner for us in the new Sub-Saharan Africa strategy. We call you a lion economy, and we want to increase our contacts, especially also in the fields of trade, investment, science, and other areas. So thank you very much for being here.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you all very much. And once again, congratulations to you and your staff, as you've said in your statement there. I mean, this was, again, as a result of the visit in 2018, where we did agree that we needed to strengthen our bilateral relations, and one of the ways of doing that was through the establishment of an embassy here in Bern. We have always had a presence, but it has always been a presence in Geneva, more as a UN headquarters, but not on a bilateral basis. And I think, as everybody has said here, given the fact that we do share a lot in common. I mean, we are two countries that are, as I've always, and I stated even the last time, we're not heavily endowed with mineral resources. We count on our human resource. And it is our human resource that has helped us grow and sustained us, and will continue to sustain us. So there are definitely a lot of areas You mentioned a few, the high tech, the innovation, where we use our human capacity to be able to also become major economic centers. And there's a lot of areas I believe we can cooperate, from manufacturing to Kenya as a trade destination into Eastern and Sub-Saharan Africa. A lot of opportunities. I believe that we have some companies already firmly established in Kenya and have been established for a long time. How can we work together to help these companies grow, taking advantage of the free trade area on the continent and using Kenya as a manufacturing base, creating jobs, exchanging expertise in many different areas. So I believe the potential is tremendous, and I think there is still a lot of work ahead of us. One of the things I'd really be very happy to see is if we can increase our partnership, especially in the health sector. I think there again, there is plenty of room for growth, and this COVID has shown us that if we are not widely spread, there is no such thing as national diseases anymore. It's a global scenario. And unless we expand our foothold, our manufacturing capacity across many different zones, we can all end up in serious problems. And I think this is one area where I believe we can work closely on. There's big entities based here in Switzerland who I think we should be able to engage with to see if they can look into expanding their manufacturing or diversifying their manufacturing areas into our part of the world to cater for that region. So those are areas I believe a lot more could happen. And I also recall that tourism, I saw some numbers there. We're talking about 9,000 tourists pre-COVID. But I can assure you that in the 70s, we used to do almost 130,000 tourists. So even the 9,000 that we're talking is a very low figure in comparison to the potential. And that's again another area where we'd like to see, some work done. Our airlines have, as a result of this pandemic, we have lost some of the routes. I believe these are areas that we can work on restoring and bringing them back. I know there's ongoing negotiations between our two countries on that. I don't want to get too much into that, but we need to see how we can get. Without air links, there's no tourism. There's no trade. There's no business. So it is a manner on how we can actually resolve this transport issue, while at the same time protecting our respective airlines from any potential problems, especially with regard to regional travel. So this is something I think people can continue looking at and working on together, because it is critical. Other than that, really, mine is just to say this is an opportunity, I believe, to be centered in a capital that has good trade ties through Europe. I believe it has an anchor country in many respects. We share very many things also at a multilateral level. I think we have taken common positions on a lot of issues, and I think this is something, again, we can continue, especially as the world is becoming more and more polarized. So we need to be able to see again how we can partner and hopefully become the voice of reason in this increasingly tense world. So mine is to encourage you to say we're happy to be here, and I do believe that your presence here should take the relationship between our two countries to a much higher level, and you can count on all the support that we can give. Hongera sana.
Thank you very much.
Hongera.
give you the floor again, Balozi. But Excellency, just as part of the symbolism of opening a mission here, it's also very symbolic that this mission is run by women, as you can see.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
I think you'll have a small toast, Your Excellency.
Okay. Haber?
Haber.
Okay. When did you get in, Balozi?
Sorry?
When did you get in?
2 days ago.
Okay.
But as you said, there is no more a direct air.
Exactly,
so we have to
exactly.
fly through third countries.
Yeah.
And we very much hope that KQ can come back to Geneva and that Swiss also reestablishes a flight between Nairobi and so on.
It would be very useful because, like I said, we're talking about 9,000. It's a very small figure in those 70s, early 80s. It was 120, 150,000 Swiss citizens used to.
Basi mtazamaji, picha ambazo umekuwa ukiziona hapo sasa ni Rais Uhuru Kenyatta akiwa ameandamana na waziri kutoka sekta tofauti kutoka humu nchini, ambapo aliweza kufanya ziara kwenye nchi ya Switzerland kuweza kufungua ubalozi katika mji wa Bern. Ubalozi huu utawezesha kuwa na uhusiano wa moja kwa moja baina ya Kenya na nchi ya Uswizi ili kuboresha masuala ya biashara, maonyesho ya biashara, utalii na pia masomo. Rais Uhuru Kenyatta alikuwa ameandamana na waziri Mutahi Kagwe wa afya na Rachel Omamo wa ulinzi, ambapo waliweza kufanya mkutano ama kikao ambapo ndio uanzilishi wa ubalozi huo ambao utawezesha Kenya kufanya uhusiano wa moja kwa moja na kuhakikisha kuwa tumeweza kufufua viwanda na uhusiano ambao ulikuwa hapo awali wa kuweza kufufua viwanda na biashara tofauti baina ya nchi ya Uswizi na Kenya. Na mtazamaji, bila shaka ndio ziara ambayo ilikuwa ya Rais Uhuru Kenyatta ya kuhakikisha kuwa ubalozi huo umeweza kuzinduliwa na kuboresha uhusiano na haswa masuala ya biashara. Asante sana, naitwa Nancy Onyancha.